What's up? This is Dilio, and I want to talk about what I have learned from making beats over the last 70 days. These are my experiences, good, bad, and ugly. So if you're not really interested in what my experience are with this, I advise you just click off this video. But if you want to hear from someone who's been down this path, who's actually doing it, and maybe you are looking for inspiration yourself in your music production journey, maybe there's some information here that can help you out as I document what I've experienced and what I've learned in this journey. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I think I learned from doing this from 70 days a row in my 100 beat challenge is that it helps me come to a realization that a lot of things, what people say and think and say and do with what you're doing creatively when you share with the public matters less and less, because your mind is made up on achieving a different goal. One of the principal things that got me started in this was a realization I had while playing PS5 and Tekken 8. And I said, man, I got really good at some of these combos, but it's a skill set in a video game, which is fun. And there are people that make money from video games, but I'm thinking to myself, but it's not as important for me to get good at a video game versus becoming a better music producer, or in this case, being better at finding a career in it versus just sort of going through the motions. So for me, what people think matters less and less when you do this, because your mind is made up. No matter what happens, no matter how you feel, you are dedicated to working on another track, whether it be advanced or something simple or an idea. When I think about artists who sketch, a lot of times you'll see artists or photographers, they have a sketchbook, and you'll see them out in public and they'll be sketching. They'll be sketching the ideas down. You may see a painter who is constantly in the studio painting. Well, I think that music producers, or even for myself, should be in a state of painting or in a state of sketching when it comes to music production, also to songs as well. I think that I should be hitting record more often than I do hitting start on Tekken 8. And there's nothing wrong with Tekken 8. It's just that I think that this, for me, is more important. If I think about 20 years from now, I would be more happy with myself if I spent more time working on my craft or developing tracks. The second thing I learned is that you start to identify what are your hidden barriers when it comes to the technology or music production technology that you have, like what's working, what plugin works, what plugin doesn't work, what software works with you. Even the actual computer yourself. One of the things that I ran into with my PC is just constantly running into these hangups and to these weird things, no matter what I did, from a fresh install to better hardware. Let's just throw better hardware at it. You just throw better this and just do that. And you're constantly patching. And when I wanted to achieve certain tasks with certain software, I didn't like that I ran into those barriers over and over again. And so what happens is you go from the transition of being a music producer and creative person to becoming IT support. And you're now in a different role. You're now in break fix. So now while you're trying to be a creative person, now you have to stop and break fix. You have to stop and triage the things that you're doing to make it work. So as you repeatedly try to achieve this goal every day, you start to learn what your barriers are. You learn with yourself. You know what your habits are. You start to learn how you think. And then if you identify some ways that you think that are not good, conductive to your goal, then you start to address them. So that when you come back the next day, it's like, okay, I thought this way about a problem, but here's the solution I reflected on in between yesterday and today. So now I know how to address that problem and be more efficient with it. You start to also not let life discourage you from doing this. I know a lot of people, and it's not, I don't like it, but when I talk to certain individuals and I talk to certain people, there's always like a fully rationalized excuse for why they don't do things. Well, I don't do this because I don't do that because, there's always like this excuse, and it's just sort of kind of discouraging to me, because it's like, okay, well then I'll just resolve and say I don't do it. But for me, I don't know. There's some things in my life that are like kind of really important to me. Not kind of, and really are juxtapositions. There are some things that are important to me, and I really soul search for those things that I want to achieve in my life, where I have this weird dialogue in my head rationalizing that I don't do it. I was talking to another individual who says that I have limiting beliefs because I stated the fact that on TikTok, I'm not going to get the same type of attention or virality as someone who is doing more of the TikTok things. In this case, I was talking about a scantily clad woman, or even fully clothed women. There's a lot of fully clothed women on TikTok. I'm scrolling on the feed and they're just there with no bra on, with their shirt on, just doing this. And I'm looking to the right and like, okay, this is in my feed. All right. And then I'm looking to the right and, you know, you just see high numbers, right? And so when you're trying to get the word out about yourself, you know that you're not going to do that. You're not trying to book nobody to do that for you. That's not who you are. That's not what you do. And real talking can be kind of discouraging because you think that you're too ordinary to be making content on the platform when you see so many people just kind of skate by, which goes back to making beats every day. Because when you make beats every day, you're not worried about other producers who seem to appear to just skate by because we don't know the full stories. But if you're focused on making beats every day, you got blinders on, so you don't see what producer A is doing. You don't see what producer B is doing. When you got blinders on and you're making beats every day, you start to see what your rationalizations are as for why you're not doing it. It's funny when it comes to Tekken 8 and playing Tekken 8. It's very easy for me to rationalize sitting down on that chair, firing up that controller, and doing combos and playing against people. When you play online, you're playing against people that this is all they do. It's obviously this is all they do, and that's great for them. But being a gamer is fun, but it's not all I want to do. It's fun, but it's like I'm at a point like, okay, what else is out there in the world that I'm trying to get to? Because I spend a lot of time on this thing. How am I so good at just coming back to this platform day after work, kicking back, working on the combos? And I'm like, man, what if I took that same energy and put it towards playing a new instrument? What if I took that same energy and put it towards learning how to market myself better as a music producer, or to go out into the actual physical world and try to go to places that could advance your career, or to network, or maybe meet that new individual that could help connect the dots with you? Because it's out there, y'all. Things are out there for you. Things are out there for me that are just for me. Things are out there that are just for you. And I think that making beats every day can help you sort of really change your mindset about what are the priorities in your life. Life is life, and it's very easy to kind of settle in to the routine. It's like, all right, I know I got to be at work at this time. All right, I know I got to do this and that. And it's very easy to settle that into that routine. And things are hard. It's like, are you harder than the things that are hard? I am harder than the things. I'm just going to clear that right now for myself. I am harder than the hard things in my life that come into my way. I'm harder. And it's funny because just couple days ago, I didn't do my live stream on making beats on a thing. But you know what I was doing, though? I wasn't sitting down playing. I was out there getting the bag. I was out there being a musician, playing actual live instruments in a live venue. I wasn't sitting at home on a desk doing what I'm doing. I was still doing what I was doing. So I don't even feel like that was a loss, because what I was doing out in the real world was in alignment with who I am as a person. So you learn to not let life discourage you from doing certain things. I struggle with just letting things just sort of be what they are. I struggle with that every day, of just kind of letting things land where they land. All right, this is how it's going to be, and there's nothing that I can do about it. I didn't make a beat today because and this is for me, the small goal of making beats every day. When you figure out that one small thing you can do every day, you really start to learn how can I pull this off around the challenges of my life? How can I pull this off and still work a 9 to 5? How can I pull this off when I don't have, there's a way to do it. And sometimes the ways to do those things are inconvenient. They're not comfortable, and they're not the way that we want them to be. They are not the way that we want them to be. So then we use that as an excuse, as, okay, well, I'm not doing this because it's not the way that I want them to be. You also develop a love for making music and remove the excuses. This is my last point that I did, and also the point of being prepared for opportunities to send tracks to different places, different people, to better serve the people that are around you, that are close. You already have tracks. Oh yeah, man. Because word gets out that you make beats. And then the thing is, like, the worst thing I think to do and the hardest thing to do is to have a person say, hey, I want a beat from you, but they want you to do it from scratch. And then going through the process of, all right, well, it costs this much to get started. And then you also know the client, well, I like this and I don't like that. I think that a lot of artists and a lot of creative people like to walk into a room and have everything they need right there. So what I mean by that is when I work with artists that don't really do music a lot, it has been easier for me to sort of create these atmospheres or these rooms or these places where artists can occupy themselves and say, okay, I like that. That's a good fit. Because a lot of the times these artists don't know how to talk. A lot of times these artists don't know how to tell you exactly what they're looking for. A lot of these artists don't have the language. They don't know how to tell you what plugin it is. It's your job to translate that. But I will tell you, it's a lot more easier to say, hey, listen to this. And they say, okay. So it really prepares you for opportunities. Some of these opportunities, people have certain mindsets that kind of get in the way of what you're trying to do because there's a certain level of perfection they don't want to have in this stuff. But me, as I'm pursuing a career in new relationships and new people in this, I have more preparation in place. If I'm a music producer, a lot of people say they're a music producer and don't produce music or only produce, I don't know, it's weird. And I was the same way. Only produce music when, all right, I got a project to do producing for. I say, and I quote, and I agree with it, you get what you prepare for. So if you're a music producer and you want opportunities, well, prepare for those opportunities. It sucks trying to make a beat when you hear about a lead or some, oh yeah, synth track, and then you have to go create the beat in that moment and you think, oh yeah, I got it. It's not really a good move. You know, it's not really a good look. It doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. A little memory for my keyboard. So yeah, that's what I learned. I hope that this encourages, helps you. These are my experiences, good and bad. Like I said in the beginning, if you don't want to hear about my story and my input and my feelings about this, I warned you to get off this video. So I hope this encourages somebody. I'm just going to upload this the way it is and just let the cards land when they lay. And I hope you guys have a great day.